Welcome and thank you for standing by. Currently, all participants are in a listen-only mode. Today's webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be posted publicly. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. Now I'd like to turn the call over to your host for today, Kim Brown.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Good afternoon, and welcome to today's webinar on Census Tools for the Grant Writing Trade. My name is Kim Brown, and I'm a training specialist here at the U.S. Census Bureau. I want to thank you for joining us today for its All in the Tools webinar series. This new series was created by the Census Academy team here at the Census Bureau. You can register for any of the workshop webinars by accessing census.gov. We will post the workshops monthly for early registration. Just visit census.gov/academy. Please note the seating is limited, first come, first served basis. We think these hands-on exercise-based workshops will be a valuable opportunity for you to learn from our experts about how to access the Census Bureau data tools and resources. If you wish to follow along, take a moment now to open an additional browser to participate in the exercises. Before I introduce today's speaker, let's go over a few important housekeeping rules. As mentioned earlier, this webinar is being recorded. For your convenience, it will be uploaded to our Census Academy site with all supplemental materials relating to the webinar. In terms of how to ask questions during the webinar, you can submit your written questions using the Q&A panel, which is at the bottom center or the right side of your WebEx screen. Please take a moment to locate that now. Once you found the Q&A panel, make sure you choose All Panelists from the drop-down menu. This will ensure we see your question. Don't send your question to an individual panelist. Also, we ask that you don't include any personal or business identifiable information with your questions. Now, let's talk about the chat panel. Look for that on your screen now. It's probably right next to the Q&A panel. Definitely keep that chat panel open also, because this is where we will provide key links and other resources. Keep in mind, you won't be able to respond to the chat. Chat is just for us to send your links and other resources. In the chat box, we will be sharing throughout the webinar the link to the evaluation. We are very interested in hearing from you on how we are doing. My colleague, Kim Davis, will be monitoring the Q&A panel. As time allows, we will answer your question directly through the Q&A panel, or we will share your question with the presenter to respond to throughout the workshop. If you don't get to all the questions with a response during the webinar, we will post the question and responses with the webinar materials on the census.gov/academy site within 30 business days. Again, as mentioned before, near the end of the webinar, we'll put into chat a link to our evaluation so you can tell us how we did today. We hope you'll take the time to complete, as we are always looking for ways to improve our training. As you know, we are in a virtual environment and sometimes technical difficulties might occur. If you are having issues, try a different browser such as Chrome, or consider logging out and coming back into the session. If you are having audio issues, try selecting the computer audio or calling into the webinar via phone. Now, I'd like to introduce you to our speaker, Marilyn Stevens. Thanks again for being here today, Marilyn. You may begin.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be back with you again for another Grant Writers Workshop. But this time, I want you to roll up your sleeves because we have a lot of work to do. Because at the end of this workshop, I want to make sure that we have really achieved our objectives. Today, we're going to discover how to access, discern, and locate a census block reference map. Hold on, don't leave. It's not as nerdy as it sounds, and because this will enable you to locate the communities you serve. Also, we're going to review the Quick Facts tool to see what it contains, what it does not contain, and how to save queries. And then we're going to explore this new data tool, Community Resilience Estimates, that provide a crucial data point that I know you're going to be excited to learn about. And then I want to demonstrate the income and poverty data tool for school districts, states, and counties. And lastly, your absolute positively favorite data tool, data.census.gov. And everything that we are going to explore today will build on data.census.gov. I want you to know that we're going to be posting a number of links in the chat as the webinar progresses. So you will not want to miss. I will be posting up until my last sentence. Everyone knows that census data is second to none. You know, our data is not only comparable, regularly collected, highly recognizable, easily available and accessible. And some of you are saying, sure. And we know that you need a credible data source. Remember, the Census Bureau collaborates with a number of other federal agencies. So many of the grants that you will be seeking, those federal agencies already know about the type, how we've collected the data, what geographies, what data is available. That's how they write their requests for proposals. So this is going to be very crucial for you. Census data tools for grant writing success. And as an old grant writer myself, I looked at 5 of our many tools to see which ones that if I was training me, that I would want. So the first will be defining geographical area of focus. The next will be Quick Facts. And then the Community Resilience Estimates tool, and the Income and Poverty Estimates tool, and then data.census.gov. Now, first, you will need to understand the census geographical hierarchy. Oftentimes when grant writers call me, they'll say, I cannot find my community area. And I say, what is your community area? And they'll say, oh, it's Liberty Square in our center, in our area, or it's called Northtown or Newtown. Well, those community names are common in the city where they are, but they're not common for census geography. As you will see by our diagram on the screen, when we say census geography, and the common ones, of course, really would be the nation, would be states and counties, and of course, the zip code tabulation areas, places, and that's census speak for cities, towns, and villages, then census tracts and block groups and blocks. So I want to, in this tool, to show you how to codify your area of focus in our geographical terms so that it will be easier for you to access census data, because without knowing that, you will not be able to do that. So I want you to put this, give me this answer in the chat. Does the mention of geography bring a smile or a frown to your face? I just want to gauge where we are. And periodically, I'm going to be asking those questions. Geography, does it make you smile when you hear about it, or does it make you frown? Well, Kim talked about having your browser open, and I want you to have, because you will need this. You are going to go, it is going to be quite an experience. And I want to give you the 8 steps to pinpointing a specific geography in your area. So the step 1 really is to go to census.gov. And you see that I have right here topics in a box. So if you're ready to take off with me, we'll go to step 2. And when that drop-down box appears, I want you to go down to geography. and click on geography. Step 3, on this screen, you'll see geography program, and I want you to scroll down to where it says reference maps, and then I want you to click on the view more arrow. Now, oftentimes when I'm dealing with data, I get really excited. So I want you to just put in the chat for me to slow down, and Kim will tell me to slow down. Now for step 4, you want to click on 2020 because that's what you will, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see 2020 right here. And then on that, when you click on 2020, you're going to scroll down to where it says, you'll see where it says census block maps. And on the census block map screen, go down to places. Remember, that means city, towns, or villages. And when you click on places, I want you to click on Florida because I want you to help me do this, inquiry that someone called me about. In the next screen, you're going to see all the places in the state of Florida. Scroll down to Miami. And here's a hint. You'll see these post-it notes periodically. That means that maybe putting something in the chat or I'm getting ready to ask you something. So for those of you that have just logged on and you're like, my God, where are they? You can go to the chat and we put the link for step 5 and it will bring you to the screen. Now, step 7. On this screen, you're going to see 3 lines. One says the parent directory. The next will say a PDF file. And that's what I want you to click on. Click on the PDF file. And when you do, this map that you see to right on the screen will appear. And what you're looking at in this census block map is the entire city of Miami. And what we've done is that we've broken it down into map sheets. What do I mean by that? In the old days, in 2000s, where we printed up the maps and when we sent them to the state houses for redistricting, different cities had different numbers of map sheets, and we had to print all those out. I love that because we would have a bank of FedEx trucks parked outside of our office, just lined up, and people were like, "My gosh, is this a FedEx convention?" Because we had to send them at the same time, so they would get them at the same time. So for Miami, there are probably about 12 map sheets. Now, what you're looking at is page 1. That used to be a separate PDF file, but now we put it as part of all the map sheets. They will be right there together, and you can click on it, and you can see and you look at all of Miami. And
Marilyn, can you go back one step and show how you got to the reference map, please?
Okay. Yeah, and you can always go to the chat because the chat will bring you to step 5. Okay, I'm going to go back. Go on. As the students in high school told me, go all the way back. So here you are at census.gov. You click on topics, then you click on geography. Then it will say geography program. You scroll down to reference maps. And when you click on view more on reference maps, it'll bring you to geography reference maps. And then you click on 2020. And then the screen will come and say census block maps. And at the census block map stage, you go down to places and you click on Florida. And then all the places in Florida will appear, and you scroll down to Miami. And if you're just coming on, you can always go in the chat, and the link to step 5, this page right here, will appear in the chat. We good?
Thank you, Marilyn.
So, all right. So now we're at step 7, and I told you about the map sheets. This is an overview. Now, when you go to the next page, what you're going to see is really map sheet 1. It says it's your page 2, but it's map sheet 1. So it has this part of Miami. on map sheet 1, and now it's broken down into census tracts and census blocks. See, there's a difference between the page number and the map sheet number. You looked at page 1 and it showed you all the map sheets. When you do this for your service area, you know what your city and your county looks like, but you're looking for the parts of it that you serve. So you know, when you can look at that first map and tell about which map sheet your service area would be. Now I want you to help me to find the census tract where I grew up in Miami. Census tract 1901 and the block number 2004. Now, when you're looking at a census block map, the large red letters in bold, those are tract numbers. And the small numbers in the small blocks, those are block numbers. The first number in a block number is the block group number. And then the other 3 numbers would be the block number. So I'm going to give you a hint. Check map sheet 1 in the light green shaded area to the left of Interstate 95. Also, there's a link to step 8 in the chat. So I've enlarged this first map sheet so that I can show you. You'll see it's page 2, and if you go back to page 1, map sheet 1, there I am, tract 1901. And underneath, you'll see 2004. That's the block I lived on. I'm so excited when someone wanted to know, she wants to know about the Liberty City and the Liberty Square area and Allapattah. I just perked up. That's my area. And look at the surrounding tracts, because when she called other community areas, and here they are. So I want you to make note, just jot down tract 19.01. And then to the left of it, you see 15.01, 19.03, 19.04. And those large boundary lines, and you know your area, and the more you increase the size of your census block map, more features will appear. This what looks, some people say, is that a railroad track? I said, no, that's Interstate 95. This is Interstate 95. And I lived to the west, and on the map to the left of Interstate 95. And that area that she was looking for. So although we called it Liberty City and Liberty Square and Allapattah, all those areas, you have to be able to codify them based on the census tract. Wow. Is that something or not? Now I want you to get ready for the next tool. And what you'll have to do is on the back arrow at the top of the page, click the back arrow, then it's going to take you back to this screen where you first clicked on the PDF. And when you click on the census logo, it will take you back to census.gov. Before we move on, I want to check in with you again. Question: was this segment beneficial? Let me know in the chat, yes or no. And one more question.
There's a question. What area of Miami are you talking about in your demonstration?
What area of Miami? I'm talking about, okay, let me go, I'll go back. I love to have questions about my hometown, right? Of course, it has changed since I grew up. Where you're looking at, where I grew up, I dare not say what year when we bought the house. I'll say I was 5, and then I was just 10 last week. So right here this was the Liberty City area. And we lived on 10th Avenue, and this is 11th Avenue, and this is 12th Avenue. Now, across what you see here, you see double line. Across 12th Avenue, right here, there was some subsidized housing they call Liberty Square, right in here. And because this was a long time ago, there was a wall built here, literally a wall. I forgot, it might have been 20 or 30 feet tall, so that the people over here that were in these homes, they wouldn't have to look down their street and see the subsidized housing here. That wall was not torn down until I graduated from high school. But you're in the Liberty City area here, and if you would go further, just a few blocks north, where this looks like a large clearing here, you'll see my elementary school and my high school. And this is 65th Street and 10th Avenue. And here's Interstate 95, 62nd Street. I know this entire area. Often when I'm in the area, I do go there, and of course it's not the same, and it looked so much larger when I was growing up, and I'm thinking, was the street this narrow and small?
Marilyn, can you explain the advantage or disadvantage to using the PDF files in the geography versus the mapping features on data.census.gov? The question is there a benefit to using the mapping PDFs versus?
Yes, there is a benefit, because what you're looking at, the census block map, is the official map of that entity. These are the maps that are used by your planners. When I was in the Chicago region and I had the city of Chicago, I had a 36 by 48 map of the city of Chicago overlaid with the census tracts in my office, right there on the wall. So that I could always go up right to that map. When you map in data.census.gov, you will have to do a print screen. But even before you get there, most grant writers do not know the tracts in their area. So if you go to data.census.gov, you don't even know the tract numbers. So that's why I felt that this tool was important from the very beginning, so that you will be able to access your own map. And then we can save some questions to the end, because they're going to have more. So everybody's with me? I have one more question before we move on. Place the letter of your response in the chat. For letter E, just write a response. How did this segment increase your skills in pinpointing the census tracts and blocks in your target service area? A, not at all. B, somewhat. C, exceeded expectations. D, greatly enhanced skills. E, other. And if you put E, tell us the other. We read every single message in the chat. We're like chat voyeurs. So let's go to next. Wow. Now we're going to move to the next tool. What is your QQ? Your Quick Facts Quotient. What does the Quick Facts tool contain? And you may submit more than one answer. Place your responses in the chat. A, no business data. B, data for all municipalities. C, population stats. D, census tract data. E, single years of age. F, geography. G, race and Hispanic info. H, building permits. I, retail sales. J, median family income. K, all of the above. And L, none of the above. Place your responses in the chat. And Lisa, let me know when I can show the answers. Is everybody ready? I should have put the Jeopardy music on. Okay, the correct answers are C, F, G, H, I. Let me know, Lisa, if anyone had all of those correct. If they had a perfect score. And while she's figuring that out, we're going to move on and I welcome you to the Quick Facts tool. And you're already at census.gov because you followed the directions from our geography segment, right? Of course you did. So to access Quick Facts, instead of going to topics, this time you're going to go to data and maps, and then you're going to go down in the drop down and click on data tools and apps. And then you're going to click on to page 2 and then scroll down to Quick Facts. And you should see the Quick Facts main page or the Quick Facts only page. You will make the difference in the page. And the first thing you see at the very top of Quick Facts in the fine print, they say always read the fine print. Quick Facts provides statistics for all states and counties and for cities and towns with a population of 5,000 or more. So, first of all, that's why the answers B and D are wrong answers. Because B said all municipalities and D says census tract data. And Quick Facts does not provide any of that. And any entity that's less than 5,000, you would have to access data from data.census.gov. And of course, C is the correct answer because the first subject in Quick Facts is population. Quick Facts is really a static table. So when you pull it up, the entire nation will appear. And the next, you'll see, as you scroll down, you will see age and sex, race and Hispanic origin, population characteristics, housing. So letter E is a wrong answer because what? There are no single years of age. They're just some aggregate age numbers, and you get the percent of those. Letter G is a correct answer. Why? Because this tool includes what? Race and Hispanic origin data. And that makes letter H correct because as you can see at the bottom of housing, we tell you the number of building permits. And as you continue to scroll down, you'll see families and living arrangements, computer and internet use, education, health, economy. And letter I was correct because they're the total retail sales. And as you continue to scroll, you will see transportation, income and poverty, businesses, geography. J is wrong because Quick Facts has, this is how I caught you up, median household income. It doesn't have median family income. You'd have to go into data.census.gov. And letter A is wrong because the tool does have business data in it. And F is correct because we have a few geography data points. But when you look in Quick Facts, what you'll see a combination of percent on some subjects and hard numbers on the other ones. But this is good for you as a grant writer because if you need to know if my area has grown, what the latest estimate is on population, you will see we have what's called a population estimates program. And in our population estimates program, every year we put out the estimates of the population. And this is going to be key for you because some of your grants will ask, what was the population in the last census? And in Quick Facts, you can go right here and get it. Also, what's the percent of people under 5? You can go in Quick Facts without having to go to data.census.gov and get it. So although it's limited, it is essential. So what I want all of you to do right now is to select 5 entities. And as you can see, I have a city from Florida, a city from Alabama, I have New Orleans, Louisiana, and I have Clarksdale, Mississippi, then I have the state of Florida, and I have the nation. The nation is the default, and you can put 6 here. So if you don't want the nation, then you can really exit out and then have 6. But right now, go here, put in your entities, just put them in, and they'll automatically populate. It just takes seconds. And I know that you're going to enjoy this exercise because this gives you an opportunity to make your choices and to see how Quick Facts can work for you. Every data tool we have is beneficial to your grant writing success. And do not be afraid of statistics. We have a huge cadre of folks, data dissemination specialists and others in our data dissemination and training branch, and we're here for you. We don't want you to get frustrated and start throwing your laptop out the window. We want, before you get to that point, we want you to contact us. So does everybody have their entities in? And you can share those. And what I do, there are 19 counties and that I work with in Florida. So what I do is that I pulled up all 19 in Quick Facts. And this is what the PDF looks like. And I've downloaded it. So each time I want something, I don't have to go back into Quick Facts. I can just look at my PDF, scroll down, and there it is. And that's how beneficial Quick Facts is to you. And what's really good with you learning in Quick Facts is to look at these subjects: population, age and sex, race and Hispanic origin, transportation, families and living arrangements. These are subject areas that you will be able to get more information about as we progress, and you will see. So let's go to the next tool. I think this is my favorite. You said the others were your favorite. Well, yes, they really are. This is a new data tool that we introduced just a couple of years ago. Community resilience estimates. With the pandemic, there was a lot of conversation about people's ability to rebound after the pandemic, with the shutdowns, businesses closing, schools closing, just a lot of different variables that could really stress people out and prevent them from rebounding from even a hurricane. We saw with Hurricane Ian. And for those of you that are not familiar with hurricanes, when you have a Category 5 hurricane, especially of that, any Category 5 is going to be strong. It takes years. Literally, you will be able to go in that area 2 years from today, and the devastation will still be there. It takes a lot for people to rebound, and there are a lot of grants from corporations, foundation, of course, in the federal government that many of you are applying for to assist your target group. And this tool will help you with another data point, because different characteristics of the population react differently to setbacks, such as health, social, economic impacts of a disaster, tornado, hurricane, wildfire. So what is this community resilience estimates tool? We fondly call it CRE. So in this tool, we look at 10 risk factors. These are the 10. And many of these risk factors are factors that you use in developing a profile of your target population. But in the community resilience estimates tool, we look at what areas by census tract, by state, by county, by census tract, have zero risk factors. So it's low risk that in the event of any type of disaster, it could be a water main breaking and the entire neighborhood flooding, and people's homes are flooding, they have to leave. What areas have 1 to 2 risk factors, and what areas have 3 or more risk factors? The key here is that it doesn't matter in this tool what 1 to 2 risk factors there are, or what 3 or more. It could be any 1 to 2 of these, or 3 plus. It's in data.census.gov that you can find out additional information about your target population. But these are the 10 risks. When we say risk factors, this is what we're talking about. So let's we're still working with my area that I grew up in Miami, right? So when I looked at the state of Florida risk factors as the state, I saw where less than 25% of the state had 3 or more risk factors. So I felt pretty good about that. But then I looked at 1 to 2 risk factors at 46%, and then low risk was at 30%. But then I thought, how about the county? So when I looked at Miami-Dade County, as you can see, 3 or more is nearly at 28%. That's higher than the state. And then when you look at 1 to 2 risk factors, it's 48%. That's higher than the state. But one of the things that I like about the community resilience estimates tool, it gives you the percent, and then it gives you the hard number. So that when you look at the 23% and you say it's okay, but then when you see it's more than 5 million people, you say, oh, that's something to be concerned about. So now we're going to go into CRE to see what risk factors are in the tool for my census tract that I grew up in, okay? So you're going to go to, of course, census.gov is where you are. You're going to go to data and maps, and then you're going to click on data tools and maps, right? Going to click on data tools and apps, APPS. Now I put APPS in there, and I don't know how maps got in there, but we'll see. And then when you get there, you're going to scroll down, because this is what should appear. When you click on data tools and apps, when you scroll down, you should see community resilience estimates. And your screen should look like this. Across the top, you'll say state. So you scroll down and you scroll to Florida. Then the next box says zoom to county. You scroll down and zoom to Miami-Dade County. Now here, I have selected 3 or more risk factors. And the good thing about this tool, you will perform all of your queries from this screen. So when I went to Miami-Dade County, this is the part of the county that appeared, and I had to enlarge it. This is the southern part of the county. You see Homestead? You see Homestead here, and it says the county's name, and then Miami, and then Hialeah, another entity in Miami. And the area that we're going to be looking for is here. So as you enlarge the map, you're going to have to pull the map down. And you will see Hialeah on the left, and on the right, you will see this area, and it'll say Martin Luther King Street, Northwest 62nd Street, which is Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. And that small little square within that large one is the tract where I grew up, 19.03. And when I looked at this tract, what I saw just literally blew my mind, because there are only 3,992 people in that tract.
Marilyn, can you go over what identifies the risk factors again? What are the qualifying data points?
Yes, here we are. Here are the 10 risk factors.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Okay. Is everybody good?
Marilyn, one more question. Can you show in Community Resilience how a user can download the data rather than view it on the map?
I'm assuming the person's asking the question that they could get a table that would show the risk factors rather than.
Yeah, they'd like the data file rather than viewing it on a map.
Okay, at the end, if I have some time, I will go into the tool, because right offhand I didn't open that browser, and right offhand I'm trying to see if we have the table where you could download the table for CRE. In the experimental data, we had a table by track, but I'm trying to see if this final product does have it in it. So here you see the 0 risk factors and the number of people in that track. That's a key number you want. 3,992, but only 12% have 0 factors. Almost 37% 1 to 2 factors, but this is what really got me. More than 51% have 3 or more factors. So if you are a community organization, and this is what I told the person that called me that's working in that area, she was totally fascinated by this. She said, there are some other grants that we can seek to assist the residents in this area. She said, I did not know you all had this. And then I showed her how to look at those risk factors and get data points for every one of those that showing those risk factors. Those are all subjects in the American Community Survey, and we can get those on data.census.gov. Wow, what a tool is this? And I just went around to all kinds of tracks, looked up the tracks where my friends lived and my cousins and everybody lived. I'm going to stop for a moment because once I go to, this is the SAPI tool. We call it SAPI. Many of you that are on here work for school districts, or you do a lot of grant writing for schools, and you are very familiar with the small area income and poverty estimates. And you know that the main objective of the program is to estimate income and poverty for the administration of federal programs and the allocation of federal funds to local jurisdictions. And some of you are community development block grantees, right? So in addition to these federal programs, state and local programs use the income and poverty estimates for distributing funds. Well, there's quite a history behind SAPI, because there was no American Community Survey prior to 2005, right? That's when we rolled out American Community Survey. Before then, you had to get the poverty estimates from the last decennial census that we conduct every 10 years. So it took an act of Congress to make the changes in the elementary and secondary act updated that put in the need to have these annual small area income and poverty estimates. It's a very limited tool, but it's very vital. And I believe it's working better than ever now, because I don't get calls from superintendents and principals like I did in the early part of my census career, not very happy with these SAPI estimates. So that changed. So I'm happy to hear that. The data sources for SAPI are many. As you can see, the American Community Survey, the decennial census, we use federal tax records, SNAP, the Bureau of Economic Analysis personal income estimates, the supplemental security income recipients, and population estimates. So there are a lot of different programs that go into producing this small tool. So I'm going to come out of this because I really want to go live in this tool with you. And some of you saying, really, Marilyn? And the answer is yes. So what I want you to do, when you go to census.gov and you go down to data tools and apps, Scroll down. You can't look for SAPI because SAPI won't be there. The tool for SAPI is called Income and Poverty Interactive Data Tool. So you have to go down to Income and Poverty Data Interactive Tool. So while you're going down to that, I'm going to go up to the SAPI tool. And let me know, Kim, if you all can see the SAPI tool on my screen.
Not yet.
Okay, that's what I thought. So we're going to make sure that you can see the SAPI tool on my screen. Now you can see the SAPI tool on my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Now, as you can see, this tool is simple. And here's a default of the entire nation, all ages, and it's looking at poverty. And as you can see, as you move your cursor around, it will give you the poverty estimate for every state. Not only is it color-coded, but you have it for every state. I want to go into a particular state. Now I'm looking at numbers for Florida. Then it compares it to the nation. We'll look at a county. Then what you're looking at is all of the counties in the nation. I think there are, 3,155 counties. And if you work with multiple counties, then you can pull up multiple counties and you have the tool at the bottom. And then you can download that tool right here. You can download the display here, and you can also download the graphic. And for your states and your counties, and you can change the ages, as well as median household income. And you see where the nation is, more than $69,000 for median household income, but for Miami-Dade County, it's $58,000. And when you look at the tracts in your service area, it could be even lower. And if I go here and see, I'm going to cancel this and clear it. Let's see.
Marilyn, while you're clearing that out, we have a question. What does confidence interval mean?
The confidence, because everything we do except a census is based on an estimate. So when the confidence interval really shows how valid the data is, how much confidence can we have in these estimates, and we're working at the 90% level. So the estimates are good based on the statistical formula that's used for them. We get that question a lot from reporters about the confidence level of the data. Now, for a census, when we do it every 10 years, that's a 100% enumeration. So there's not really a confidence interval there because it's 100%. We have to account for all households. But in our other programs and surveys, they're all smaller universes. So there's a statistical formula that's involved in calculating them. So SAPI is really a small tool, but if you're working with elementary and secondary schools, it is necessary for you. And when you click on the school district, you can find the school district in your area because they're all here, every one of them. And then you can, right here, you can do a search so you don't have to scroll through. I think there were 31,000, almost 31,000, 355, something like that in school districts, and they're all here. And what I really, there's another part to this tool that I thought is interesting, and I'm trying to see if I can get to it on my page. Down at the bottom, there's a Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program Interactive. It's a tree map. At the very bottom, did you guys see that? And this map comes up, and as you can see, it's color coded. It's really weird because it's like the flat map of the United States. But all you have to do, we're going to go to Florida, and then all Florida's 67 counties will appear.
Marilyn, we have a question before you went to the tree map, and thank you for sharing that. What does the percent refer to? The percent of the selected population in poverty is the question?
That's the number of people in poverty in that, whatever that jurisdiction is, if it's a county, if it's a school district, if it's a state. That's the number of people in poverty. And when you go to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, when you put your cursor on any one of these counties, it will show you the number of people participating in the SNAP program in that county. It gives you the hard number, and it also gives you that number in the percent. And I wanted to show you SAPI because for me, I think it's important. So what do you guys think about that? Did you like SAPI? Of course you did. So we're going to go back to our PowerPoint now that we have SAPI up under our belts. Now, can you imagine? We've gone through what? Geography, quick facts, community resilience estimates, and now SAPI tools. What the heck can be next? Now we're going to explore your favorite data search engine, data.census.gov. So if you go to data.census.gov, and often many of you don't get a little caught up in this, so you'll see where I have the arrow pointing to advanced search. It's under the search icon. It's very small, and when you click on advanced search, it's going to bring you here. And at this step, you're going to apply filters to get the data table that you need.
Marilyn, I'm not seeing your screen.
Oh, okay. So I'm actually having my own webinar by myself. Well, that's not good. And I'm having a good time. Okay. So we'll go back to the beginning. Data.census.gov, you're going to come to the data.census.gov main page and click on advanced search. Underneath the search icon, you see advanced search right there. Now, this is a step where you apply your filters. The first thing you want to do is to search for your table. Most of the data that you're looking for will be from the American Community Survey, because we have so many subjects and there are more than 1,500 tables. I don't think there are any data dissemination specialists can tell you right off the bat what those tables, even half of those table identifying numbers are. I know that I can. So we're putting in the chat the link to the table shell and the table list. These are going to be central for you, and when you get them, they're Excel spreadsheets, by all means save them. But now to get our filters. First is the table, right? And the table that I'm going to look for will be DP05. And the default, of course, is the nation. So if I put in DP05, ACS, American Community Survey, demographic and housing estimates will appear. And then I'll go over here to to geography, because here's the table. Here's the table name that I could click on. Everything is here. But this is what I get when I search. And I don't want the default geography for the nation. I want Florida. So now I go back to the filters, click on geography, and the various types of geography will appear. and I've highlighted county and census tract. So once I click on county, and then I click on the state, and then all of the counties in Florida will appear. And then I'm going to scroll to Miami-Dade County, and I'll click on that to put that in my filter box. Then I'll go back to my filters and click on geography and go down to census tract. And then I'll click on this, and it'll ask me for the state. And guess what it's going to ask for next? It's going to ask for the county, because census tracts are nestled by county. And then I'll scroll down to Miami-Dade County, and then I'll search for, I'll put in 19.0 first, and then it'll bring up the 3 tracts with 19.0, and then I'll do 15.0, and I'll get the tracts, and they will appear in my search box. And then I will go over to my table. Because I have census tracts in there, it defaults to the 1-year estimate. Whatever is the latest release is going to default. And in the 1-year estimates, I cannot get census tracts. Census tracts, zip codes, jurisdictions less than 65,000, block groups, all of those will be contained in ACS, American Community Survey, 5-year estimates. So I'm going to have to change to the latest 5-year estimates in order for my census tracts to populate. And when I get my entire table, as you can see, I have the state, I have the county, I have the census tracts. I have clicked off margin of error because I don't need to make my table smaller. I can now download into an Excel spreadsheet. And voila, there it is. Now, to make it easier for you, we have put demographic profile 05, demographic profile 04, demographic profile 03, demographic profile 02 in the chat. We've also placed in the chat another table on poverty and age and race. It's a great profile, and I want you to see that table.
Marilyn, I just wanted to let you know the links are not populating, so they are not in the chat for those. Those.
Wow, and I checked all those links. Even when you press on control.
Yep. I tried a few different ways, and the links won't let me copy and hyperlink.
Wow. Okay, wait a minute. Let me see. One thing about going live, links. Okay. Here are the links. Okay, here's one. Did this one populate? This is DP05.
Yeah, let me try that DP05.
Okay, and let's see DP02.
And can you go through the step of how you got to DP0, any of the DPs? Could you repeat the step of typing it in the global search?
Right. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I believe, is that I think, and you're going to think we planned it this way, but I swear we did not. There's some aids to assist you in navigating data.census.gov. We're going to put the link in, and Kim is checking to make sure it works. There is there's an ACS detailed table shell. Let me tell you what the shell is. The table I just showed you in data.census.gov, and I downloaded into Excel. We have shells of all 1,500 tables that shows you what that table looks like before you put it in data.census.gov and populate it with data. Therefore, you can look at it and you can say, oh no, this is not what I thought it was. So we're going to see the link. And when you get to the link, you will see ACS detailed data table shells. And it's going to be like 45,000 lines because the whole table, every one of those tables is in there. And then the other one will show you the 1,500 table list. So you'll have the table identifier number, which is what I just used when I said DP, demographic profile. I cheated because the demographic profile, there are only 4 tables in that series. A demographic profile, a social profile, an economic profile, and a housing profile. But right here, you'll have a table list, and you can save that, and you'll always have all the table identifier numbers for every table that's in the American Community Survey, all 1,500. And these are the subject areas. And I know you say, every time she does a webinar, she shows this. That's right. I refer to this myself. There are 46 subjects. You can see we have 27 for population, 19 for housing. And these are the data profiles I talked about. This is just 4 of the 1,500. There are only 4 in this series. And that's why I did I pulled that data for these 4 profiles so you can see them. They give you a perfect overview of the tract, of a city, of a county, of the state. You would be surprised. And now, once you look at these data profiles, now you can look at subject tables where you're getting down to more specificity. And this is what the table list looks like. It starts off with sex by age, and it goes, all 1,500 tables are listed. And you can see you can get it by sex by age by white alone, sex, and the B tables, the C tables will be the collapsed tables. So comparison tables, I really want you to go through the shells, okay? I want you to look at this is the table list, but here's a shell. And this is what B01001 looks like. And when you put this in that search box at the top, before you put your filters in of data.census.gov, the table will appear. It will have these age increments in this exact same way. You're looking at a mirror image of the table without the data in it. How are we coming with the links, Kim?
Yep, none of them are hyperlinking. So
okay, well, I'm trying to find out why, because as you can see, here's one table. When I open it up, here we go.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Go ahead. Do you want to try dropping it in the chat and let me know if maybe you can get them to link? That'd be great.
Well, you mean the links only like me? That's not fair. That's not fair. I mean, the link should know I'm the last one to like. So let me see. I can get them, because I want you all to have these links. This is important that you have these links. So let me stop sharing for 1 minute and see if I can get these links in the chat. Okay. They're showing the table. I'm going to send, and someone let me know if they are hyperlinking. And while you guys are looking in the chat at that, I will show just a few more things and take some questions. This is the last thing before I go. I'm not going to go into all of these, but this is a data product and data point that I think you will want if you don't know anything about it. The state ranking tables. Where does your state rank as opposed to the other states in the nation? So I just pulled up a few. This ranking tables set is easier to access than QuickFacts.
Marilyn, we don't see your screen again.
Okay.
And also early on, we had a question, why
Mhm.
2020? And that was during the geographic
Oh,
mapping.
right,
Why 2020? Why not some of the
right,
newer mapping?
right. Look, I love that question and the checks in the mail. The reason we have 2020 is because every census is when the new blocks and tracks are drawn. Some change during the decade and some don't, depending on a lot of other factors. So that's why we have 2020. So that's why you have your own census block map. You're good for another decade.
Okay, another question here, Marilyn. The question asked was, would you it would be helpful now or later if you could explain how to work with areas that involve multiple place level geographies. For example, if a college service area includes 5 school districts, that college may want to define its place by the boundaries of these school districts.
Right. And we have school district data. And the person that asked that question, I want you to direct email me. I will show my email at the end.
Okay, thank you, Marilyn. So Matthew,
Right, absolutely. We have data by
yeah,
school district.
yeah,
And we get that question a lot, especially for grant writers, for universities that are working for their external partners, and
and
defining that boundary as it pertains to where the university's city located.
yes. And so just for clarification, Matthew, place level is defined as cities, towns, and
City, village, and village. Absolutely, yes.
CDPs, which are census designated places.
It's a census
Um,
designated place, right? In other
yeah.
words, you may live in a subdivision that's a large, but like I'll give an example, the villages here in Florida, right? And I've watched the villages just grow exponentially. And I have been there several times and stayed on the property just to walk it, if nothing else. And now it's a census designated place because the state wanted to have statistics on the villages. You know, it's not incorporated. It's not, they don't have their own elected, they don't have their own mayors and that type of thing, elected political structure, but it is a census designated place. And we do publish statistics on the villages and Sun City and other places around the country. What you're looking at, the percent of children related under 18 below the poverty level by state. This is a ranking table, and we're hoping that those links will work. If they don't, when we post these materials online, we will have the links posted.
Okay, and I have one last question for you right now, Marilyn, and that is referencing quick facts. Linda Blaine asked, do retail sales include online sales from businesses outside of the community?
That's a good question. I'll have to research that, and we keep that question in the chat. And after the webinar is over, we go over all the questions and we publish responses. And we will publish a response for that. And just as a commercial, we take an economic census in years ending in 2 and 7. And so we sent the notifications out to 4 million businesses, and they're in the process now of completing their questionnaire for the economic census. It is really the largest economic survey that we conduct. We conduct several a year, but the economic census is huge. So if you work with businesses, by all means, encourage them to complete their economic census questionnaire and get it back to us by March 31st. This ranking table, the ranking tables are easy. When you get the link, you'll have a list of all 90 tables, and you just click on them, and an Excel spreadsheet will appear. And it'll have all the states listed just like this. I had to cut them up a little bit to fit the screen, and you'll see where your state ranks. And of course, nobody wants their state to rank at the top. as it pertains to poverty. But this is how your state ranks. But this is a data point for you. This is a data point. The national average is 16.6. In your service area, is it above or below that? And then the percent of people below the poverty level by state. How do the states rank here? If I'm going too fast, let me know. And median household income by state. But as a grant writer, you look at the U.S. number, you look at the state number, you look at the state ranking, but when you look into the tracks that you in your service area, then you want to see what the difference is in median household income as it compares to the state, the city, and the county, because your programs you're designing programs to level your community up. And these data points will help you. Wow. They say begin with the end in mind. That was Stephen Covey. So these were our objectives for today. And I do hope that we were able to achieve them for you. This is the second of our grant writing workshops, and we are working on doing a series of them. And remember, if you would like to have a separate workshop for yourself or for your organization, for your group, you can always contact us at Ask Data, 1-844-ASK-DATA, or at census.askdata@census.gov. I really strongly encourage you to go on the Census website and go to the Census Academy, census.gov/academy, and look at all of the videos we have on different data subjects. Some of them like small vignettes, some are longer, and every webinar that we have done will be listed there, as well as upcoming webinars where you can register. You can contact me directly at marilyn.e.stevens@census.gov, or contact me or any of our staff. You just contact Ask Data. We have a tremendous staff for Ask Data, and they will contact us and we will contact you. I will stop sharing. And let me see, someone wanted me to go. To where? Here. Excuse me for 1 minute. Let me drink some water. Wow. Now you see, and the question was on this map, or even on another map, why would I use this one to download? We really do not have a great download feature for this one. You'd have to do a screenshot for this one. But your census block map is going to be key for you, and as well as even when you go to data.census.gov. Of course, the data.census.gov map will give you your map in the moment as you're working with our data product. But one of the things that I would like to say to you, that before you get to data.census.gov, you need to know what the geographies you're looking for. Now, once you get in data.census.gov, then you can put in your table, and whatever table that you put in, you can also map it. So now you have that visual as well as your table.
Hey, Marilyn, can I ask you to put your contact info back on the screen for us so folks can copy it down?
Yes.
And Kim, do we have any other questions for Marilyn? Alrighty, since we don't have any more questions for Marilyn at this point in time, I will go ahead and say thank you very much to Marilyn for this excellent webinar. Before we conclude, I'd like to thank everyone who played a role in today's webinar, and also, of course, thank you, our audience, for spending your time with us this afternoon. Please take a moment to fill out the evaluation by following the link provided in the chat. Look out for the recording and the PowerPoint from this workshop on the Census Academy by visiting census.gov/academy. That brings us to a close, so we thank you again and hope you have a great afternoon.
This concludes today's webinar. Thank you for your participation. You may disconnect at this time.